Hi again, it's me, Melinda. I am coming to you from October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I am just coming to just remind you that if you have anybody that you know that might be abused, please get them help. It can be very troubling and kind of frustrating to help somebody that's in a violent situation because they are so conditioned by their abuser. They might have a hard time believing that they're in an abusive situation. They might have a hard time even thinking that they're going to be able to leave. So please be gentle with them, be kind. I know you might be pulling your hair out, but please just take time, go slow, listen. Just listen to them and be a shoulder, maybe let them cry a little bit. Send them resources if you can. Sometimes you might not be able to because the abuser might be monitoring their email or their phone calls or text messages. So please just use a little bit of restraint, but do what you can. Just send small little messages. If you can do so in private when you're with that victim, that would go a long way. Also, if that person is ready to make that jump, I do have some safety plan information on my blog at hopewhentherewasnone.blogspot.com. But just briefly, if you are a victim, do me a favor, save all your pennies that you can. I know it sounds strange, but it takes $25 usually at banks nowadays to set up your own banking account. If you have a trusted friend or family member you can actually send mail to, that would be a great address for you to use. A P.O. box if you can. They're pretty cheap, about $25 for 6 months. Maybe it could be a little bit higher depending on what area you are. Also, just send all of your information that you can, your mail, your maybe new correspondence if you're getting or if you're renting from a new place or mortgage or whatever, send that to a trusted friend or a P.O. box. Get any information that you can on your bills, what you owe, who you owe. Also, look up your attorney information if you can. Just poke around for women's shelter information as well, or maybe your local YMCA. If you're a man, you can call women's shelters as well to find out information about what you can do, what steps you can do to prevent and actually save yourself. That's really hard to do because with men, it's so infrequent that you hear about it. Where women, it's silent. But for men, oh my goodness, it's even worse because, men are supposed to be these macho guys and that's not supposed to be happening to them, but it can. And it happens a lot more than you think. So do me a favor, again, I digress there. Start saving what you can. Leave a paper trail. So if your abuser is leaving you text messages, voicemails, sending you emails throughout the day, please keep those. Those can be used at a later date, especially if they're threatening. You can go to the police with those and maybe file a protective order when you're ready. This is, again, information about when you're ready to make that jump. Make information copies of your health cards, your prescriptions, Social Security cards, birth certificates. Call your schools if you have children. Let them know what's going on. If you can, if you trust them enough. And most schools are very obliging and will hear you out and are very understanding because there might be a slip up in your child's schoolwork. They might have a sudden behavioral change that is warranting some attention as it is. So this would be it goes to further explain why that child might be acting out or suddenly quiet. So get information about that. If you can make duplicate keys, get your bank account information, get those numbers written down so you have that when you go for a divorce. If you're married, you'll need that information, separation or whatever. Your attorney will need that, so know what your balances are and your bills. Again, make copies if you can. Send them to a trusted friend. Make copies, put them in a P.O. box, safety deposit box, something like that where you can keep it. Make extra car keys if you can. There was a point in time where my abuser didn't want me. I had already came back. It was in 2007. I had came back. A month later, for some reason, he just didn't trust me again. He was starting to, I came back, he was hiding his cash because he got paid by cash, and probably still does, but he got paid by cash a lot. So he was hiding them somewhere on the property. I never even cared to know where. But he then again, for some reason, took my driver's license, cut it up, took my car keys, so I had nowhere to go. I couldn't just go. He took whatever cash I had, and basically I was a prisoner there at the house. He called and checked on me while I was at work. He was at work, excuse me, and that made it difficult. But if I had an extra key, I probably would have escaped. If I could have walked, I could have. It was during a bad period of time, so in the winter-wise. But make those copies if you can. Give it to a trusted friend if you can. A neighbor, maybe someone that you wouldn't even think of. Just say, hey, can you hold this for me? If you don't want them involved. Pastor is a good person to do that. It can be very, very hard right now. I know, and I know your mind is just going a mile a minute. What do I do? How do I get out? Where am I going to go? I don't have any money. I know. Been there, done that. You can do it. It takes some planning. It's not going to happen overnight. If you're planning on doing this, please plan for at least a month, at least minimum a month of planning before you go ahead and make that jump. If you can wait that long, if you can't, by all means, then get out right away with whatever you can. If you have to go at night, during the day, when your abuser is at work, do whatever you can to get out. But if you think you might have a little bit of time to plan, maybe to get a little nest egg for yourself, then go ahead and do so if you feel safe enough to do so. I was at the point where I had decided to finally make that jump. My daughter actually called me. She snuck a phone call to me when I was at work and told me, Mommy, Dad's chasing my oldest son around the yard, and then she was screaming and crying, please come home. So of course I came home. When I got home, my son was okay. He kind of avoided eye contact, and he had told me that he was fine. His nose was red. I could tell he had been crying. His neck was really red. I talked to my ex, and he said, well, I kind of got out of hand. Things I just got a little mad, it got a little escalated, but we're okay. I kind of, just got a little angry. I later found out from my daughter that he did catch my son, and he was choking him, and she was the one that, said, Dad, please get off, Daddy. And, he stopped. He just kind of was a little shook up there. And at that point in time, my ex wanted to do a safe word. Hey, when I'm getting out of my hand, I want you to say banana splits. Well, with my son, that incident, that rocked me in my boat. That was my rock bottom. That was definitely my rock bottom. That was in November of 2008. I knew I had to get out. So my sister wanted me to go as soon as I could. I couldn't. I knew I needed to wait until he was gone because he was watching my every move. At that point in time, he was coming to a slowdown at work for him. So I was under his thumb all the time. He knew where I was at, again, the phone calls that he would do to me throughout the day. And every 15 minutes, half hour or so, I had to answer that phone. So he knew where I was. He knew how long it took for me to get to work and to home. He also knew my mileage. He was keeping track of that, so he knew if I made a stop where I would go. So I just can't stress enough how I'm not going to cry through this time, but it's hard to do those memories. But I just want you to know that I'm pulling for you. I'm thinking of you. And if you have any questions, any concerns, again, my email address is blessmeplease, blessmeplz@gmail.com. If you just want to chat, don't hesitate to go ahead and drop me an email. I'm rooting for you. Big hugs and God bless. Now.